Hi, I'm Corey. I'm going to be talking about positive thinking today. The results of my audience analysis survey we did on October 31st, I found that 82% of the class knew one or more techniques on how to be a positive thinker and think positively. Some ideas that caught my eye in the survey was that God's got a plan, because I have faith as a person as well, and I believe that God does have a plan, and it doesn't always pertain to me. So that really helps me, and I like that idea that was mentioned. Also, thinking of how somebody else has it worse, I like that a lot too, and it's nice to put it in perspective, because somebody could be without a limb or without a family. Somebody always has it worse, and I like that idea. I don't know who mentioned that, but it was really good. In the book, The Power of Positive Thinking, it was said that thinking positively encourages resilience, adaptivity, perseverance, and a range of other dispositions that are instrumentally useful to individuals whose professional and personal circumstances are subject to unpredictable changes. So I like that a lot, and I had to mention that in my speech. And this whole topic is really interesting to me because it's a big part of my life. My life was unsettled when I began recovery 10 years ago, and since then I've constantly been learning on how to be more positive and more optimistic and accepting and all those different things. Like once I learned that I don't have to control everything, my life got a lot easier. I was able to actually enjoy it, and I just continued to think like life is pretty good. As long as I can keep breathing, have a roof over my head, I'm going to be all right. Some of the main points I'm going to be talking about are going to be what positive thinking and peaceful living mean to me, some strategies that I use to remain positive and how they've led me to a peaceful lifestyle, and also some tips to being positive and how everybody can achieve peaceful living with some of these strategies. So going into our body here, what positive thinking and peaceful living means to me is not having to worry about everything and just kind of let life happen as it happens. I try to just let the past be behind me, and I don't worry about that stuff because the future is in front of me and that's where I'm going. And I just focus on things like that. So it means a lot of time to enjoy my life is what peaceful living and positive thinking does for me. Yeah, we talked about letting go of control, like when I don't have to control things, and I just let people think what they want to think, say what they want to say, do what they want to do. I don't have to worry about other people's stuff. I can just focus on what I'm doing and do the next right thing for me. And that always goes really well, kind of like how the speech is going. I'm doing me up here and it's going really well. I like it. Some strategies I use to stay positive and their impact on my well-being are, let's see, just focusing on the future, because the past isn't going to do me much good unless I'm able to learn from my mistakes. But again, mistakes are just opportunities to learn something and grow better and just be a different kind of person. It feels good. Just being yourself, focusing on numero uno. I like that touch that I put in there. Just having confidence in who you are, just loving yourself, and imagining every time you walk into a room that everybody's fortunate that you're here today, or like you're doing everybody a favor by being around. And it's really confident and it feels really good, and it works really well for me, and I'm just enjoy being a happy person. Some tips to being positive is just talking about what's on your mind. Like something I would do is if something's bothering me for more than 5 minutes, I would call somebody, like call a friend or call my mom, and just tell her what's on my mind. Because I don't need that snowball to roll anymore. I don't need that in the back of my head and interfering with my life. When I get disappointed or anxious, it kind of, people can see it on me, and I don't like that look on me, so I do whatever I can to really not worry about stuff like that. And also, it feels good to vent, just in general, just like if you're having a bad day, you might talk to your significant other, and you'll feel better because somebody else knows what's going on in your life. Moving on, Oprah Winfrey had a really good quote. She said, "The greatest discovery of all time is that a person can change his future by merely changing his attitude." And we kind of talked about that earlier too, and I think it all starts with attitude, just an attitude of gratitude, just like my first speech was. It ties in really well. I think this is so true. After applying some of these tips, like it'll feel more comfortable and get easier and easier to have a good attitude and be positive about everything. Some of the things we talked about are what positive thinking and peaceful living means to me. We talked about some strategies I use that help me out, and we briefly talked about some tips that might help other people as well. I noticed that only 1 out of 22 people didn't really have any strategies or tips yet, so I hope this was helpful. Also, I want to mention that being positive is not always easy, but it's worth it. It's necessary to achieving the key to peaceful living. Thank you.